Hello and welcome to the Magic Mirror Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Khan the Trinket Mage, and with me is my co-host, 33 Elk.
Hello.
Additionally, we have our other co-host, Salubrious Snail.
Hello, hello.
Today's podcast is going to be a fun one. We are talking about some quick spoilers from Strick Haven. The face commanders were spoiled, so we're going to talk about those. I think there's one that I'm really excited about. And then we're going to be talking about combos in brackets 3 and 2, specifically 2-card combos in bracket 3, and a combo deck versus deck with a combo, all about combos this episode. And then if we have time, depending on how much arguing we do, we'll get to some of your questions on the podcast. But before we do any of that, I want to say you two are so wrong.
Uh-oh.
Last episode, when you guys were talking about my decks, you were like, this Boros deck you have is, so weird. It's no fun. It's like a bunch of nonsense. I played a game with it this morning, and it was the most fun Commander game I've had in a long time. This deck slaps. You're both wrong.
Okay. Maybe
You're allowed to have fun with bad decks, Con. Like, we're not stopping you from doing that.
No, you stopped me. It was crazy until I broke free from your shackles.
that's true. See, maybe you had so much fun with it out of pure spite. You were like, God damn it, I'm going to have the most fun I've ever fucking had in this game. It's going to be such a goddamn good time.
You just gaslit yourself into believing that the deck was good just to spite us.
No, I had so much fun. I had Alexios in play and Duelist Heritage at the same time. Oh, I had the table sweating. With that one. It was so fun. And I won the game because of an Icy Manipulator activation.
Icy Manipulator of all cards. Hey, it's a limited bomb. It's a great card.
I could kill my opponent with Aurelia in the air if I cast her from the command zone and swung in because she has haste. But my opponent had the Fire Crystal from Final Fantasy and the Balrog in play, which meant they could activate Fire Crystal to make a copy of Balrog to kill one of my creatures. So they could just kill Aurelia at instant speed. And they couldn't do anything else at sorcery speed because I had War's Toll in play. So if they cast something, they would have to play the copy then, and Aurelia has haste. And then Icy Manipulator clutched it up because I was able to tap down the Fire Crystal on their end step and force them to activate it then, cast Aurelia with haste, swing for lethal. It was really sweet.
There you go. That is pretty good. I will say I feel like there are some decks where they come together better than the sum of their parts looks. Like there are some decks where I look at them and I'm like, yo, this is the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. There's just like a ton of really cool like tech cards riddled throughout it. And then there are other decks that are just structurally cool, like the stuff in them just fits together well and promotes cool gameplay in some unexpected ways. So this might be a version of that, even if I look at it a little sideways when I'm going through the list.
I think that's everybody with this, because I've posted this list online a few times asking for some advice, and it's always the most unusable advice because I think people just don't understand the point of the deck.
Building on that point, like whenever I'm like, oh, yo, check out this deck, like what would you change about it? I always, every time I ask that in my Discord when I drop a deck link, like I would say 80% of the suggestions are totally unusable. Just I'll have people suggesting like cutting the best cards in the deck.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. People are like, oh, why are you running Zetalpa? I'm like, Zetalpa's the best card in this entire deck. It's force combat with like no goad. I have to make it so I can't be attacked, but also deal damage to people. Like Zetalpa is the like my main win con.
Some people just don't understand. They can't see the vision until it's in action.
You know what? I had a friend of mine. He listens to the podcast. He knows who he is. I'm calling you out because he said the same thing about this deck. And then he played it. And basically, if he remembered Zetalpa had Vigilance, he would have won the game with Zetalpa. Like he was cooking with it.
Yeah, Zetalpa's Vigilance is a really important part of why the card is so sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Enough about that. Let's talk a little bit of spoilers. So they released the face commanders for the Strick Haven decks, and I'll read them out one at a time, and we can give a quick whether or not we're excited about this commander. Starting with Dina Essence Brewer. It is 1 generic, 1 black, 1 green for a 2/3 Dryad Druid. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, draw a card. This only triggers once each turn. Then you may pay 2 generic, tap, sacrifice another creature. You gain X life. And put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the sacrificed creature's power. Elk, you had a really fun interaction suggestion for this deck, actually, when we were talking before the pod.
Yeah, this is like actually a pretty decent commander. On its face, it reads kind of poorly. Like it's like, oh, I have to pay 2 to sacrifice something, and then I get to draw 1 card. Like normally, like you'd want a greater good giant creatures like this. But in this instance, it's a new good Phyrexian Dreadnought commander, where you go 1 mana, 12/12, 2 tap, sack the 12/12, get 12 counters, gain 12 life, draw a card, and then decline to pay 12, sack 12 power worth of things for the Dreadnoughts trigger. Phyrexian Soul Gorger would work. The stupid crocodile from Aether Drift that I forgot the name of, Calaxian would work as well. So it's just a big power deck, but instead of getting greater good style of payoffs, you have +1/+1 counters as the payoff and life gain. So you can run like Veto, Thor to the Dusk Rose, all this stuff, and you can just keep sacking the creatures you put the counters on to keep gaining that much life. And then, Veto's triggering all the time, and during whatever's in triggering all the time, the stupid snake Glimmer, and then you're draining people for life totals. And like, yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's also really funny with Spike Weaver. Like spikes work really well with +1/+1 counters.
Mm-hmm.
The first line of text kind of just makes me go, oh, this is just a aristocrats guy. All right. But I really like that you can use the second ability as like a cool combat trick. It is quite effective at that, actually. It's really hard to block when they have an activation with this ready.
Oh, true. Yeah. You just, sack your blocking fodder and get value.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff.
So yeah, Dina, I think, is going to play way better than she reads. She's definitely very interesting and has some good life gain and counter synergy shenanigans.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty neat take on the aristocrats, and I like that it's designed in a way that you're not supposed to just make 100 dudes and then sack all 100 dudes in one go. You actually have to kind of get incremental value. Also, I like the art. It's cool.
One thing I dislike maybe a little bit is that the first line of text still kind of encourages you to play all of the classic sack outlets. Like, you want a thing that gives you on-demand sacks so you can axe a token on each player's end step or whatever. But that aside, I think it's a really cool design.
Moving on to the next one, we have Rutha Mastering the Moment. 2 blue-red for a 3/4 orc sorcerer. I did not remember Rutha being an orc, but maybe I'm dumb.
Yes, you are dumb. I'm sorry. Yeah, Rutha's always been an orc.
That's crazy. Doesn't really look too orcish. Anyway, maybe I think of orcs as green. I don't know. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, create an XX blue-red elemental with flying and haste, where X is the greatest mana value among instants and sorceries you've cast this turn.
I really like this. I don't know that I would build around this, but I really like that it is pretty aggressive. So it kind of encourages you to be swinging in pretty hard, because if you cast Rutha and if you can do like a treasure cruise the same turn, or something big the next turn, you're swinging pretty hard and fast at people. I also just really appreciate that this is it's a very simple face commander. I think we've seen kind of a creep in the complexity of a lot of commanders, and this feels like a breath of fresh air, that it's just kind of a simple single line of text, and I do appreciate that about it.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Vial Smasher, where you're like, cast a giant spell, and then you get a flying hasty that then punches someone for the mana value of that spell. But difference is here, you get to keep the token, and you can like fling the token for basically double damage if you think about it. Like, Rutha looks really good.
Yeah, I love this commander. This one's sweet. I like that it doesn't draw cards. It doesn't give you a billion mana. It's just, like Alex said, we've seen a creep of like commanders that just do absolutely everything. This is one line of text. It does one thing, and you have to construct your deck around it. It's not going to win the game for you. You actually have to like put card draw in your deck and removal and like actually, build a proper deck. It's not going to steamroll the whole game for you, but it is relatively powerful.
If you're playing against not very good decks, it can win pretty fast if people aren't putting us.
It's still pretty strong, especially with extra turn effects. Like, if you play this on 4 and you cast like a 5 mana extra turn effect the next turn, you're off to the races. You can hit pretty hard.
But I know what you mean. This isn't like a drop and forget, just like engine that does everything and hands you the game a couple turns later.
Well, also extra combats work really well with Rutha, don't they?
That's true. Oh god, that's fun.
she has this, at the beginning of combat on your turn, so you go 7 mana for like you do the pitch spell, 7 mana spell, that gives you an extra combat.
Yeah.
And then you make a 7/7 and you swing with it, and then you get an extra combat, and then you go, okay, great, swing my next 7/7 that comes out of Rutha. And you can do that as early as turn 4.
That's disgusting. I love it.
Also, a full throttle is kind of crazy because it's 6 mana. You get 2 extra combats. That's 18 damage, right? Because you get the first 6/6 and then the next 6/6, and they can both attack.
Yep.
The second time.
Well, and then you would get a third 6/6, wouldn't you?
Oh, because there's 2 additional combats. Oh my god, that's so much damage.
Yeah.
Wait, that's so awesome. Yeah, this card's sweet. This is a cool
card. I
card.
love it. I do wish we had a little bit more red power matters stuff. Because that's one thing I thought was, it'd be kind of cool if it was in green as well to take advantage of that. I don't think that's needed necessarily. I think the fact that it's instants and sorceries makes me glad it's not.
My favorite red powers matter stuff is flings. Just run flings.
Flings are solid for sure. I think we're all spoiled by greater good.
That is true.
Now, that one I think would be my favorite commander spoiled if it wasn't for Killian Decisive Mentor. 1 generic white black for a 2/3 human warlock. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, tap up to 1 target creature and goad it. And then it also says whenever 1 or more creatures that are enchanted by an aura you control attack, draw a card. This one's so sweet. This one's so sweet. I love that it taps the thing, because then here the turn order matters a lot, because I can tap down the player to my right's biggest creature and goad it. And then if I've goaded something else from another player, they can freely attack into that third player because their biggest creature is tapped, which lets me then draw a card.
Yeah. What I like is that this feels really open-ended as far as enchantment cards go, because you can only get one card per player, right? You can only, you put an aura on each opposing creature, put an aura on one of your creatures, get them all to attack somehow. That's a solid stream of cards if you can get it. But after that point, each additional enchantment is kind of just, tapping things and goading them, which isn't bad necessarily. But I think it offers the possibility to not focus a deck that heavily on enchantments actually, and focus instead on a lot more political tools or even aggro tools. I think there's just a lot of neat space here.
This card is broken in the 99 of Onyxia or Master of Keys, anything that can just recur a bunch of stupid cheap enchantments and stuff, and then you just start goading everything because you make 15 million enchantments every turn.
You can also do that with Flickering Ward. 1 white, enters, choose a color, enchanted creature gets protection from the color, but you can pay 1 white to return Flickering Ward to its owner's hand. So you just, every 2 white you have, you can goad a creature.
Yeah, that's pretty decent as well.
It's pretty nice.
This is my favorite one of the 4. This one's so sweet.
Well, the 5. We
5, excuse me. I forgot. Yeah, this Quint. Next is Zamone Infinite Analyst. Green, blue, 1 for an 0/4 human wizard. The first spell you cast with X in its mana costs 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on Zamone. Whenever you cast your first spell with X in its mana cost, each turn put 2 +1/+1 counters on Zamone.
It's the Animar we have at home.
It's X spell Animar. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not thrilled by it. It's fine. Hopefully somebody out there is
it's
excited
whatever.
by it.
We did it. We broke Seedborn Muse. Yeah, I don't know. We already have so many good X spell commanders, and this one doesn't really do anything that interesting compared to those.
Yeah, you put it in the 99 of the teamer ones you have.
Exactly. Put in Magus, Lucia Kane.
Yep. Okay, next is Quintorius History Chaser.
Oh no, they made him a chaser. That's so bad.
They have History Chasers. Red, white, 2 for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker Quintorius type. Whenever it has a static ability, whenever 1 or more cards leaves your graveyard, create a 3/2 red-white spirit creature token, so like the uncommon Quintorius. And then it has +1, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards, then mill a card. And then it has -4, spirits you control gain double strike and vigilance until end of turn. And then Quintorius can be your commander.
So my thought is that you just have every single scrabbling clause kind of effect, right? Tap, target player exiles a card from the graveyard, and then you play Quint, and then you plus him, discard a card, then mill a card, you draw 2 cards, right? And then that's 2 cards in your graveyard that immediately turn into 3/2 spirits because you have Scrabbling Claws and Relic of Progenitus and Ghost Vacuum in play. All of those turn into 3/2s. Then Quint gets blown up, whatever. Later in the game, turn 6, you play Quint again after getting some more spirits in play, and then you just minus him right away. They have Vigilance and Double Strike, you just kill someone, and then that's the play pattern.
I've played with the other Quintorius that just has basically the static ability as my commander. And you can actually get a reasonable number of spirits. The awkward thing about this one is because it's kind of an overrun effect in the command zone. Anytime a player sees you have like a reasonable number of spirits, they have to like blow your board up because you can just go, okay, I'm going to give them all double strike and vigilance and, destroy you. So I feel like it might draw a lot of heat.
It's also, I don't know, it feels like the kind of card, like a Tormod style card where you want it to kind of stick around for like grindy turn over turn sort of gameplay. And on a Planeswalker, that seems a little tricky.
Yeah.
I kind of wish the +1 was a +2. I feel like that would help it to have a little more durability. But I mean, it seems cool. It seems like you could fit it into a cool shell. You could do a lot of things with it theoretically. Just enabling graveyards in Boros is just kind of cool in general. So I don't hate it or anything, but it does seem a little tricky as like a Tormod style card. It's just a little unreliable, given that it's a Planeswalker.
I do like this in the 99 of Borosi grindy decks.
Yeah, I think it's just a little too fragile as a Planeswalker to really do anything high impact. That being said, I'm happy they didn't really push this Planeswalker super hard in the same breath.
No, I'm very happy with the power level of these cards because I think none of them are like stupid broken, stupid overpowered. Like I think this is such a much better direction for how face commanders should be. I think these are like face commanders should be this power level basically, the ability to do something cool in the right shell in the right moment, but not obviously broken.
I mean, I think there's definitely a place for, I think, the stronger ones. I think it can be kind of exciting for somebody to get something that is really out there and pushed, like a Valgavoth type thing. So I definitely I get it when they print kind of the spicier ones, but I do appreciate kind of the very simple design of these.
Last card we're going to talk about is not a face commander, but is from the Strick Haven set, and that is Lorehold the Historian. 3 red-white for a 5/5 Elder Dragon with flying and haste. Each instant and sorcery card in your hand has Miracle to generic, which means if it's the first card you've drawn, you can cast it for its miracle cost. And then at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card, which means if you draw an instant or sorcery, you can just cast it, breaking timing restrictions if it's a sorcery, for 2 generic.
I'm not a Miracle gamer, but this card is so sweet.
It's so sweet. Oh my god.
Here's the thing, I am a Miracle gamer, and I think this card's like kind of lame.
Really?
I cannot believe you don't think this card is the coolest
with
thing we've seen
that
in
final line
years.
of text though. Yo. That's so
listen, this is how it's gonna play out every single time. There's 3 worlds I see. Number 1, the first world, someone plays it on turn 5 and it immediately gets blown up on the next upkeep. Like you get 1 or 2 loots out of it.
Okay,
That's
so
how you
you
play
misplay.
poorly. Yeah, you misplay it. Number 2, you go ramp, 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 ramp. Okay, I have 7 mana on turn 5. I play Lorehold the Historian. I pass. I rummage on your upkeep. I drew a land. Okay, great. You kill my Lorehold. Fuck. Bummer. All right, great. Next turn. You replay
Okay,
him.
you could also play the card well, you don't
what's a good play pattern with this that would get me excited?
Good play
for it?
pattern is you play, you don't rush your commander out on turn. This is not a card you play on turn 5. This is a card you cast on turn 7, probably 8, or maybe earlier depending on how much ramp you have. You ideally cast this while you're holding 1 or 2 mana protection for it. And then you get 3 chances to rummage into a big instant or sorcery and still hold up your 1 mana, bolt bend to dodge removal. And then you play your Sensei's top, you play your scroll rack, you manipulate the top, you cheat out something big, you cast a Mizzix's Mastery. I guess the Overload is the good part. What's a big instant sorcery? I don't know.
Stormherd. Stormherd makes Pegasus equal to your life total. But this is a lot of setup, and the payoff is I make a giant board. You get to cheat instant or sorceries. I don't know. When I play Cormella, I think I can do that pretty well. It's just I'm underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed with this design overall. And I'm
going to be playing Madness cards here. I'm going to be on your upkeep, discard my Fiery Temper, bolt your thing, to draw into my Storm Herald, make 40 Pegasi, and then I'm going to hit you for 45 in the air next turn. And it's going to be awesome.
It's, that's the ceiling for sure. But I don't know. If you like hitting the slots, I think you like this commander a lot more than me.
You get 3 chances a turn cycle to hit something. Yeah,
I know,
I don't even think it's slots.
In your protection spell world, though, the main thing that has me like not interested is like someone goes, okay, sword's your thing, and then you go protection spell, and then you've tapped out of the miracle for 2 mana.
Well, you don't cast this until you can hold up 2 mana plus a protection spell.
Oh, so 9 mana is when you need to play Velomach's Lorehold. Then you're just turbo ramp, aren't you? It's like
no, you can do it on 8. Bolt Bend will cost me 1 mana.
Okay, like I think the card has power level. I just don't think it has any build that has me interested, sadly, even though I love miracles.
There are 2 visions I see for this card. One of them is the combo vision where you are prepared to like fully set up your library and take maximum advantage of the turn cycle that comes after your turn. That seems tricky. The ramp required might be a little challenging, but I think it could work. Couldn't you like use a cost reducer to get the miracle cost down even below 2? Or would that not?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can, right?
Yeah, and that's going to be good in an instant sorcery heavy deck anyway. I don't remember how many of those are in just red, but they're definitely the colorless
there's a couple.
They're the colorless ones at minimum. Your Cloud Key, etc. So
and Goblin. Not Goblin Necromancer. There's a mono red one. There's an otter.
There's at least one. That's one vision I see where you just set up for like a really juicy turn cycle. The other is, I think it's just solid as a control commander.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you, that second line of text just gets you like a constant flow of cards. You just wait, play this on like turn 8, and then kind of hold up a little bit of protection, hold up all your instant speed interaction, and then just try and, keep control of the state of the game. You can use a bunch of like flicker spells as your protection as well. Use a bunch of instant sorcery based flickering stuff, as well as ETB creatures, because those tend to work pretty well in kind of a control shell as well as value engines. I don't know. I see a lot of possibilities with this, and I think the 2 lines of text on it are both very potent. So this seems like a cool thing to brew around with. Even if I am not the most noted miracle mechanic player.
There's a really good chance I build around this. So maybe you two will see this commander in action at some point. Alrighty, that is all of our spoilers, right? Or at least all the things we're going to talk about. So
yeah, sorry, Mathemagics. You should have been an instant. Then maybe we would have talked about you.
Yeah,
true.
Don't even put it on screen, Yusuf. We don't care about that card.
No, we should put it on screen just to say this sucks. It would be okay if it was an instant. That's all.
Perfect. Moving on to our next topic, we're going to be talking about 2 card combos in bracket 3. Now, according to the bracket system, which remember are guidelines, they're not laws. You're not going to be arrested or executed or sent to EDH prison if you break the bracket system guidelines. But what you should be doing is using it as a Rule 0 tool to discuss about your deck, yada yada. And one bit of malleable contention in this is 2 card combos. And in bracket 3, the guideline states no early game 2 card combos.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is an early game 2 card combo? Now, EDHrec has attempted to categorize these in some capacity. And this is a community voted on thing where it has, you were presented a combo. So we'll say Thassa's Oracle and Tainted Pact. That is a 2 card combo that wins the game, right? You're presented with that, and then you say, hey, is this an early game combo or a late game combo? And then players will vote on that. And on EDHrec, you can see the early game ones and the 2 card late game ones. Supposedly, the late game ones are acceptable at bracket 3, and the early game ones should only be acceptable at bracket 4 and 5 in theory.
Quick addendum here on the methodology they used. There was actually 2 questions. The 2 questions were, can this happen early, and would you consider this a combo effectively? Like, is this truly like substantial and like major enough to be considered a combo? And then those 2 combined to decide where cards got put, or where each combo got put.
Right, because if enough people said no, it's just effectively not on this list, right?
Yeah, I mean, if people said no, it's not really like a combo, that's just like a good thing you can do, then, it doesn't end up on the list.
Okay. Future con, if you forgot to put in the description, put it in now when you're listening to this, the link to these 2 things so people can click the link in the description and follow along. I think that this is an interesting thing, but I don't know how good commander players are at judging what is and isn't an acceptable combo in lower power levels.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm going to give my pitch for why I think that this is a cool and broadly good project and that I broadly like it being available. That's because I feel like probably the biggest area of ambiguity presented by the brackets, at least to me, is combos. What counts as a combo, what counts as an early game 2-card combo, what counts as a 2-card combo in the first place, because there are lots of things that are like 2 cards plus a sack outlet, 2 cards plus a blood artist effect, etc. and such like. And so it ended up, and the answer to all of those questions is it's a vibes-based thing. You have to feel it out. Some things feel like a combo that belongs in bracket 3. Some things feel like a bracket combo that belongs in bracket 4. And you just kind of have to figure that out. What I like here is that you have effectively a curated list of those vibes based on how other people feel. So other people looked at Demonic Consultation and Thassa's Oracle, answered a couple questions about them, and then the conclusion was brought that this is a thing that could be an early game 2-card combo, and therefore it belongs in bracket 4. And so this is kind of a vibes tool where you can go, okay, that's that sort of combo. You can look at other sorts of combos, Dual Caster Twin Flame, that's that sort of combo. And I think it's useful for somebody who hasn't necessarily played a whole lot of EDH in a whole lot of contexts and might not know kind of what feels certain ways at certain power levels. I think it's nice to have a reference point for this. How I wouldn't use these lists is going, oh, I need to put a combo in my Dimir deck, and then clicking on combos Dimir and then slapping them in. I think if that's what you're doing with the list, then I don't think the list is being particularly useful, because I don't think that's generally, I don't know, that's not a way that I have wanted to build decks since I was roughly 13 years old, but I'm sure somebody out there is doing that.
Yeah, this is like where it kind of falls apart for me, because like if you open the early game 2-card combos page on EDHrec, it's like these can be executed early on in the game. These factors were voted on in our community by our combo vote. Okay, disclosing that's awesome. But then it immediately follows it up with these combos should not be played in lower 3 brackets of Commander. They should only be played in brackets 4 and 5. Learn more about the system here. And then they link to the article, which actually gives like a more like nuanced take on it immediately after going, you are forbidden from using these except at higher power level tables. And then they have like the world's most dog shit combos in the zone down here that the community voted on. Like Maha Knight of Souls Betrayal is down here, which is just like so unfathomably not bracket 4.
It's not even a combo. Like I don't even know if I consider this a combo.
It's a soft lock.
I would consider locks combos, but only if they're like really hard locks. Like I would consider Lavinia like Knowledge Pool a lock.
Sure. I guess this is just a very soft lock.
This is a super soft lock. Like a Disenchant or Generous Gift stops this, and you can still cast it. Right? It doesn't lock you out of casting spells.
Yeah, Reclamation
it makes creatures
Sage,
stop existing.
Unlike Humility, a Reclamation Sage gets through this.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But there's more examples of this. Like, I think a lot of people maybe just didn't have like a good like idea of what the mana curve would look like for these combos. So we have Bloodthirsty Conqueror, which is a Exquisite Blood style effect. And then we have Vizkopa Guildmage, right? Which is 2 mana card. And then target creature gets lifelink until end of turn. That's one of its 3 mana abilities. The other 3 mana ability is whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. So here's the curve. You play Vizkopa Guildmage turn 2. It doesn't get removed. Turn 5, you play Bloodthirsty Conqueror. It doesn't get removed. Next turn, you have the 3 mana to activate the Vizkopa Guildmage, and then you can swing the Bloodthirsty Conqueror. I'm not calling this an interesting combo by any means, but this is getting activated on turn 6 in Magical Christmas Land. This is... Before that, that's not happening at all.
You definitely need to accelerate, and I think the fact that it is 2 different creatures definitely gives it a degree of vulnerability. I think even if you replaced the Bloodthirsty Conqueror with Exquisite Blood, this becomes less easy to kind of interrupt. But yeah, this one definitely is a little bit tricky for sure. I do think it's interesting to kind of consider what caused these to be put the places they were, because I think very similarly to Salt Scorer, the Salt Score kind of survey that people fill out where they presented a card, asked how salty it makes them, it is very much a gut level thing. It is a gut level. How brutal does this seem? How sad has this made me? It is very much a vibes-based thing. People aren't necessarily thinking out too carefully thinking out all the different kind of elements and permutations and ways of interrupting it. I think that's probably where the Maha one comes in, is just that this has made people sad. This is a thing that people have definitely encountered recently. Maha is a very popular card. So I think combos with it are naturally going to be higher up in people's meter than a lot of others, just because they have played against it and it has made them unhappy.
I guess that's also the weakness of this, right? Because I would argue that this Maha Knight of Souls Betrayal is a weaker soft lock than just the card Humility by itself. And Humility is a game changer and is playable in bracket 3.
It is absolutely weaker than Humility as a soft lock for sure.
That is a perfect lens to look at it through. And that's how I feel about the Bloodthirsty Conqueror Vizkopa Guildmage thing. Like, I think Veto Bloodthirsty Conqueror is too good. Like, I think that's where we're kind of like breaking the line a little bit, where we get like Veto combos in here, because that one actually curves really well and is activatable without like a billion mana that more invested into the 2-drop part of it with the Vizkopa Guildmage. Like, Veto is way more easy to pull off, and therefore I like having this be a bracket 3 more efficient combo than just having Veto Exquisite Blood. You know what I mean? Like, having an option for people to Blood Bond without having to like actually run Blood Bond, which is a lot quicker, makes me interested in having this combo. And I think that's why like I don't like the gut feeling like part of this.
I also have a question. How do you feel about the ones that require more pieces? So I see here on the early game 2-card combos, Blasphemous Act plus Repercussion, right? That would deal 13 damage to each player per creature they have.
Yeah.
But if you played it really early, you're actually not gonna like kill the table, because if they only have one creature in play.
At Magic on Atlanta, I died to this on turn 4 in a bracket 3 game.
Really? Specifically this?
Yeah.
I don't like Blast Act Repercussion. I do think this is a very good example of what should be on this list, because it punishes people for playing creatures, which is what people want to do in bracket 3, presumably. At least like, 60% to 80% of people, they want to play creatures. And then just having this combo that's like card 1, card 2, you all die because you played creatures, I think is not that fun of an experience. And I think that should be something you should disclose pre-game. Be like, hey, listen, I have Blast Act Repercussion. Is that cool? Because it can go kind of fast, right? That highlighting that and earmarking that as like, this is like 4 to 5 mana, blow everyone up. Like, even like Toralf God of Fury, like it's in the command zone and it's kind of like a repercussion where if you overkill something, you deal excess damage, right? You get to punch a player for that much. Like, that's a certain deck I think is like a little annoying at bracket 3,
Yeah.
It's very fast.
Yeah, I know for me in the game I played, it did feel too fast for bracket 3. It wasn't something that particularly bothered me, because I would rather have a game that ends on turn 4 than a game that ends unsatisfying on turn 8.
Yeah.
So I was fine with it, but like, it did. I think that one definitely is on the line and can feel a little too brisk.
All right, I'm trying to find another one. I'm trying to find one that like requires some other piece.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few examples of this. Like, I saw one earlier, like Dual Caster Mage, Heat Shimmer, or not Heat Shimmer, Dual Caster Mage and a Flicker spell, for instance, would probably be the best example. So you flicker something, and then
you have to have another creature, right?
Yeah, and you need an Impact Tremors kind of effect for that to really kind of do work.
Right. Because
Yeah.
it's just infinite ATBs. You're not making hasty copies like the Heat Shimmer version, right?
Yeah, so like, Flicker spell plus a Dual Caster would be like an early game combo, but it needs a third thing.
That is an interesting line. I think my conclusion has been that if all components of that are cheap and relatively plentiful, then it does kind of feel like an early game 2-card combo, just because it's pretty easy to pull off if you have, good filtering and, a carefully built deck. But it could easily feel better in some circumstances. I think the line is very fuzzy.
Yeah, because there's definitely a few, like, you can get a pretty early, like, Aristocrats Blood Artist loop going, or like, something with a Grave Crawler and a Phyrexian Altar plus something else can, like,
that's exactly
pretty
what I think
easily.
of. Yeah, because there are just so many different interchangeable parts in that it doesn't even feel like a 3-card combo. It doesn't feel like you're searching up your 3 cards. It feels like, 3 cards of different categories that you each have, 6 or 7 of or whatever.
Yeah, whereas like Shalai and Halar plus the Red Terror, it's like 2 4-drops and they're kind of specific.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like relatively early, but
yeah, it's a very fuzzy list. I think I will maintain that is still why I, like this. I think when we closely examine every single combo on here, I think we're maybe using this tool not the way I would use it. I think it's useful to kind of scroll down and take it in its entirety as like, oh, you know, these are all things that people have found upsetting enough to put here. Maybe there are some that I disagree with, but even the ones I disagree with, like I can find a reason why somebody chose it. Like obviously the Maha example, Maha is kind of has been very kind of an in vogue spicy card that people have been playing around with for the past couple of years. It is very much kind of a hot topic in a way that a lot of other things might not be. Like I have, you know, multiple soft locks in my Shroom deck, but none of them are that spicy, you know, none of them contain cards that are overwhelmingly upsetting to people. I think Riptide Gearhulk is probably the highest power card in there, but that's not even really a soft lock. I think Refurbished Familiar is the actual most brutal soft lock in my deck. But yeah, I just think it's interesting to see where people are coming from. Ultimately, I don't think I find this like partially a replacement to the experience of playing a bunch of Commander and of kind of experiencing how different people react to things at a table. I think as a replacement for some of that, this still works well enough for me, but I definitely get where individual examples fall a bit short.
Yeah, I think my main thing that I hate about this entire EDHrec page is just like how like you're forbidden from playing these. I wish it got more like, hey, listen, if you're running these, you need a rule 0, like speak to your playgroup. Then I would have no problem at all. I'd be like, okay, it feels a little authoritarian, like a big brother screaming at me because I decided that I wanted like, you know, whatever in my deck. Especially like putting the stupid thing in my Maha deck is like exactly how I expect people to build Maha. And then just having a new player sit down across from someone who read this article, like this page, and then went like, oh, that's illegal and verboten. You're a pub stomper. That's going to lead to a bad experience somewhere. I wish the wording was just like better.
Yeah, I think I definitely get where you're coming from because the kind of absolutist language doesn't really pair with my vision of what this page should be accomplishing. Like it does kind of look like, oh, time to scroll down until I find my combo and then see if it's allowed by the EDH gods. So I get where that's like a little bit awkward.
Yeah, because I do think the way people talk about casual Commander does like heavily affect the way people feel about it. Like the way people talk about it affects the community sentiment. So I think that I do agree. I wish there was like some lighter wording and stuff because I do think this is a tool that a lot of new players will probably stumble on. And also to be devil's advocate to what Elk said, I did play Bloodletter of Aclazot's Quietus Spike, which is on this list, in my deck that was, because of this, technically bracket 4, but I said it was bracket 3, and nobody ever batted an eye. Nobody was like, oh, this is crazy, because, you know, it kills one player, it takes, you know, multiple cards, I have to equip it, it's got to deal combat damage
to a player. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I pay so many for my equipment, I equip it, I move to combat. This is like classic blowout potential. Like, you know,
I never pulled it off, by the way. I literally always got hit by removal. I could never, like, I've quite spiked a few people, but I never actually was able to fully like full to zero anybody with this combo.
This is like,
I fucking love Quietus Spike.
This is literally like just as difficult as me shrooming back a Magister Sphinx and then swinging them with 2 Sphinxes on my following turn. Like,
basically.
I absolutely just love the fact that there's a combo in here that's just Food Chain. Like there's no other card. It's just Food Chain.
Wait, is this a bug?
No, it's just Food Chain. I assume what it means is it's like, oh, Food Chain plus Prosh is kind of like a 1-card combo, I guess.
Yeah, because there's Food Chain plus Squee, is there? Also, they took Food Chain off the Game Changers list, which is kind of funny.
I agree with that because of what their reasoning was, which is just like, if a deck has Food Chain in it, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I like that reasoning a lot. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. If your deck has Food Chain, yeah, you know what you're up to.
So you taking all this in, all the things we've talked about, if we were to sum it up to a few points and give some suggestions to players who might see, you know, a pair of cards that they like on this list but want to play in bracket 3, what would we like recommend that they do, or like recommend that they think about if they're going to actually put one of these in their bracket 3 lists?
Err on the side of caution, just mention a rule 0 conversation.
Which like, are we talking about the early game 2-card combos?
The early game ones.
Okay.
I think the late game ones, like, look, if somebody's mad at like, oh man, what even is this? Activating the world tree to put all the gods into play. Like, come on, that's like
you can't diffuse Assault Lord.
yeah, exactly.
But if you're gonna run a combo that's on this list and you're like, I think it's fine in this context, just mention it in Rule 0. That's literally it. And just be like, I know it says like it's evil and awful and whatever, but blame the Trinket Mage 3/3 Elk and Salubrious Dale if this game's bad.
Oh, this is going to be terrible advertising for the podcast.
True. They said it was fine, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that can go for any of these. I think if you're running a combo in the deck, it's good to kind of disclose that if you're playing at a power level where that's not going to be necessarily what people are expecting. Obviously, if you're at bracket 4, or even like a really sweaty bracket 3 table, I think that could be totally fine. I would also say, as a general rule, combos that only kill one player at a time, I find more acceptable personally. I've gotten in contention with comments before about that because I think people imagine that every time the game lasts for another 45 minutes. But just for me personally, I think it's generally okay for something to do that, to have like an escape valve. I enjoy that personally. And I think soft locks can be okay as well. You just need to watch for how interactable they are. Like, how many moving parts are there that need to stay in motion in order for the soft lock to stay online? What opportunities are your opponents given? What magic can your opponents play on their turn? Are they allowed to play certain card types but not others? Are they allowed to not play lands? I think there are definitely a lot of considerations that make things like that more or less acceptable. As for like the actual 2-card combos, yeah, it's just really a matter of talking about them in Rule 0.
I had someone try and like talk me into Brazella Gaddock being a 2-card lock.
Yeah,
even though
it's one big card that's 2 combined.
Even though it's one big card that's 2 combined. I had a commenter that was like, it's a 2-card lock, dude. And I'm like, it's 3 cards. Yeah, one of them melds into a big cartoony giant card.
That's really funny.
But it's a 3-card lock. And it doesn't even stop the dinosaur or Hydra player from killing me.
Yeah, you can just play creatures into it, right?
Yeah, you can Solitude me. I lose to Solitude, Otawara. I lose to Ravenous Chupacabra, Noxious Gearhulk. I lose to, what's the Gearhulk you run in Shroom that you mentioned earlier? The Geartide.
Oh, yeah, the one from
Riptide.
Riptide Gearhulk. There's so much. I lose to Clone. If I can't put a +1/+1 counter on it, you can have a Bruna or a Brazella. Like, there's a lot of ways to diffuse the combo in Kellen. Like, I'll have protection spells up, of course. Like, there's more to it, like moving parts. But like, oh man, I've had people salt off about like just looking at the deck list, not even playing against it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think that generally, if your lock does not restrict mana in any capacity, that's a good sign that it's probably more okay in bracket 3 than 4. And if it's like the Maha one where they can still cast any spell that they want, and there's multiple card types they can destroy to get out of the thing, it's probably fine. If it folds to like a Swords to Plowshares, it's like the lock's not that crazy. And then for combos, I feel like if it requires something additional, like the Quietus Spike one, where like you actually have to equip an equipment and connect for damage, and then it kills one player, I have not run into anybody who was mad at that one.
Yeah, anything that involves combat as an extra step just immediately raises the level of difficulty.
Even beware. Like, there's like, you can move to combat with 1 million whatever dual caster mages, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's not what I mean. That is not what I mean.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like has to connect with like one singular creature.
Yeah,
is like like even, and I would say you probably want like multiple levels of this, right? Because like Blind Obedience plus Leyline of the Void, not Blind Obedience, Helm of Obedience plus Leyline of the Void is a 2-card combo that only kills one player at a time. That said, it doesn't need to go to combat. You can just do it in one go and delete somebody instantly. So that is probably too strong for bracket 3, I would say, even though it only kills one player. So, but if you have multiple safety valves on it, like multiple card types can be removed, has to deal combo damage, and also only kills one player, you're probably in the clear.
Yeah. Also, if the combat damage is, if it is going to be guaranteed to be on a creature with evasion, I think that can be a little bit different. Like, if I'm using my Malcolm to combo like that, it's flying, that can get over most things. But if we're talking about a creature that does not have that, then I think it becomes a little bit different.
Honestly, in my the deck where I played the Bloodletter Quietus Spike combo, I was playing McCready Lamplight Mare. So my 1/1s had Skulk, and they were basically unblockable.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
and
yeah.
still nobody complained, and it never happened once.
That's still effectively a third part to your combo. You know, your commander's the third part. Even if it is
fair.
your commander and it's cheap, that is still an extra.
It's another thing that
element.
has to be on board. Yeah, that's true.
It also gives your combo more of a sense of place. I don't know. It feels better than just losing to somebody randomly pulling 2 cards to their 99. But yeah, I'm trying to think about what I would say about combo in bracket 2. I think it just like you have to stretch your definition of what combo means. Like I think most of the things on these pages are not going to be things that I would personally play in bracket 2. And like I called like the precon, the -1 counter precon, I called it like a Johnny precon because there are a lot of like really powerful synergies that draw a bunch of cards or deal a bunch of damage or etc. But those aren't like infinite combos that immediately win. They're just really powerful ways that 2 cards combine or 3 cards combine.
Well, we won't talk about it anymore because you guys don't think that's a good podcast.
I mean, I just, you know, I probably
I'm kidding.
I did say no rather dismissively. I just have like roughly 3 minutes of stuff to say about it, and then I'm tapped out.